Hey guys, today I'm here with another Year of Miyazaki video in which we will be discussing the Academy Award-winning Spirited Away. Now, this was originally released in 2001 under the Japanese title Sen to Chihiro no Kamikakushi, which translated literally means Sen and Chihiro's Spiriting Away. Now, of course, I have some interesting background information for you guys, but I won't actually share that until after the summary because I think it all ties in really nicely with the themes of this film. Spirited Away is about a girl named Chihiro who is about 10 years old and is moving with her parents from one neighborhood to another when they take a wrong turn on their car journey and find themselves in kind of an old abandoned village. Although Chihiro is massively creeped out, her parents insist that they get out of the car and explore, so Chihiro kind of goes off on her own while her parents wander around the abandoned town. As she's wandering around the town, Chihiro meets a mysterious boy who warns her that she's got to get back over the river before the sun goes down, and she hurries off to find her parents, only to discover, to her horror, that they have been turned into two massive pigs. So unwilling to leave her parents but not really sure what to do, Chihiro starts to notice some weird goings on, namely the previously abandoned townscape coming to life with light and phantom-like figures floating all over, and she's just obviously very, very terrified. Luckily, she runs into the mysterious boy again, who introduces himself as Haku and then reminds her to keep hold of her name because it is her only way to get out of here. If she forgets it, she's doomed. Haku ends up taking her to what seems to be the center of this mysterious phantom town, a bathhouse run by the witch Yubaba. Now, Yubaba is an older witch with a massive baby son and an even more massive temper, and she quickly strips Chihiro of her name and renames her Sen, and declares that she is in debt to Yubaba and must work it off by working in their bathhouse. So Chihiro becomes Sen, and she finds herself working at the bathhouse among these other humanoid creatures that aren't quite human but aren't quite monsters, and finds herself basically in this fantastical world of spirits and ghosts and beasts, and basically is trying to figure out how to get her name back and how to free her parents and turn them back into humans. It's in this film that we meet a friendly boiler man with many arms. We also meet the iconic No Face, who is probably one of the most well-known Miyazaki characters, who is a river spirit that takes a liking to Sen or Chihiro. And of course we have the mysterious boy Haku, who can turn himself into a white dragon and who seems to have lost some of his own history to Yubaba as well. Aside from My Neighbor Totoro, this is probably the most well-known of Miyazaki's films because it did win the Academy Award for Best Animated Picture in 2002, I believe. This also remains the highest grossing film in Japanese history with over 30 billion yen brought in, which is understandable because this is an amazing film. This was written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki, and I think it's definitely him at his most creative, and it was actually inspired by the daughter of one of his friends who used to go and spend time at Miyazaki's mountain cabin on her vacations. Now, if you're into kind of film criticism or film studies at all, there's some really interesting thematic analysis on this film, and you can see a brief overview of that on its Wikipedia page, so I will link that in the description if you'd like to go check it out. This has been compared to both The Wizard of Oz and Alice in Wonderland because it involves a young girl kind of tumbling into this mystical realm that is kind of parallel to our reality, and I definitely see how it pulled from both of those sources. According to the Wikipedia page, the word used in the title, kamikakushi, really harkens back to Japanese folktale and designates Sen or Chihiro as a liminal character, or a character between two worlds. Now, since you guys know that liminality is like my favorite literary device ever, let's explore that a little. Based on what I read, Miyazaki was really inspired by his friend's daughter mainly because she was 10 years old, and he felt like he did My Neighbor Totoro for younger kids and then Kiki's Delivery Service for young teens, but nothing for people kind of in the middle. So yes, Chihiro is a liminal character in that she not only is existing in between reality and the spirit realm, but she's also existing between childhood and young adulthood at this kind of threshold between youth and maturity. So to me, at its core, this is a coming-of-age story as only Miyazaki can present it. Of course, this also touches a lot on the theme of capitalism and greed. You can see that with Chihiro's parents when they turn into these materialistic pigs. quite literally, and you can see that with No Face when he starts to spew out gold just because he wants someone to like him. He doesn't care about the gold, but that's all anybody else cares about. But thematically, I'm gonna leave it at that because again, you can go check out the Wikipedia page or you can find some more in-depth scholarship because I'm sure that is out there. Animation-wise, it is no secret that this is absolutely stunning, and I would say that thus far in the chronology of Miyazaki's work, this is kind of his peak moment so far. If I was to compare Miyazaki to his counterpart Takahata, I would say that Takahata was always more experimental in his animation, while Miyazaki was more about telling stories and connecting with people. So in this film, I think that Miyazaki really shows that while his animation style doesn't change a whole lot, he presses the boundaries or pushes the boundaries of what you can do with more traditional animation, and it worked. It's stunning, it's beautiful, go watch it. However, what I like even more than the animation and the plot of this film is the soundtrack. Now, Joe Hisaishi has done pretty much all of Miyazaki's soundtracks for his Studio Ghibli films. He is one of the most well-known Japanese composers, probably of all time, and he just pulled out all the stops for Spirited Away. I listen to a lot of soundtracks not only because I think they're really great background noise when you're trying to be productive, but also because they serve as a really big source of inspiration for me in my own writing. So for me, I find the Spirited Away soundtrack to be so incredibly inspiring and so very powerful. I really feel like it has this power to transport me into a completely different mindset where the fantastical feels real, where I am so incredibly inspired that nothing really has ever come close to hitting this level for me. So those were all of my fangirl gushy thoughts about Spirited Away by Hayao Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli, and I would love to know what you guys have to say about this film. I find that even people who aren't super hardcore fans of Studio Ghibli really love this film, so definitely let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Next in the chronology, I will be watching and discussing The Cat Returns, which is the first non-Takahata or Miyazaki film released by Studio Ghibli since A Whisper of the Heart. So definitely look out for that video sometime next week. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you next time. Bye! And an even massiver. Okay. No, you Baba. You massiver.